way as compared to a contemporary way. Today we have Prachika, who is a consultant with EmployWise, and she would talk a little more about, she will spend a lot of time talking about what are those orthodox ways and why they don't work, and what are some of the newer and the contemporary ways of learning and development, essentially training programs, and what are the different formats. For example, is mobile really a format, or internet really a format, and how do people really are more receptive and more willing to learn and develop using those platforms. So welcome Prachika, and over to you.
Thanks, Anshul. Hi, everyone. Today we are going to touch the various trends in learning that exclude formal classroom learning at least. I would like to start the webinar by reviving a famous saying by Franklin. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn. I think this saying gives a deep insight. If you like to use this for your HR strategy, you need interactive learning. The manager becomes often the facilitator as the knowledge is with the people. The basic of philosophy around it is awaken my curiosity, Let me see for myself what is so interesting about this training. Give me only as much information as is necessary, no more, no less. So it should be optimum at least. Let me think about the information, discuss it, work with it, so I can come to my own conclusions. Help me see the whole context so I have a complete understanding, right? Also help me to be able to apply what I have learned so that I can build on it and don't forget it. Training costs me money. Learning delivers benefits. Now, training classrooms, while being sometimes effective, is fading away because of the traditional cost, additional costs, and yielding low results. Not as low as you expect, but there aren't many, there is a probability of lower results. The switch from training to learning has helped all of us in the field of where we focus on the learner and his or her needs rather than on our own as a company. So we are able to then concentrate on learning that is going to, going on in the room rather than on training we are doing. So the word to train comes from the Latin word known as trahere, meaning to pull. So it is clearly something done to people rather than something they do for themselves. The expression to train was apparently first used to refer to training a plant up a wall or something like that. So learning is something people do for themselves with us as facilitators of that learning. They then remain responsible for their success. Let's continue that plant example that I started with. So we do things to it in the hope that it will go where we want it to. The result is often pleasing to us as a trainer, but in fact unnatural to the plant. Say, for example, trees were not designed by nature to grow in an acyclic shape, right? So as interesting question is, what right do I have to distort you in order to get a result that is desirable to me? Now, trains of carriages or wagons also follow the locomotive. Now, the train of a dress follows the wearer thereof. I think most learning does not arise as a result of training. If you ask yourself or a group of people to identify 4 or 5 or whatever really important things you or they have learned in the past year or 2 years life, so to say, so far. So I would be surprised if many came as a result of training. That is, of someone else telling or showing you, right? Deciding for you what the right answer is, the best way to do things, the correct way to be. So I don't think it's a semantic issue. I think it's really important what power, control, or who determines what's right or wrong, and so on like that. So now I would like to actually touch learning, development, and training, and differentiating them according to me. I will be coming on to the definition that I carry. At the same time, I will just introduce the sort of a, in an easy word, if I have to tell that, okay, what is the difference between learning and training, or what is common between the two. So learning and training have 6 letters in common and touch the same field of interest, that's education. So often the words are used interchangeably, but some say there is a subtle distinction between the two. Of course, definition for the distinction vary according to whom you ask. Some learning leaders feel that learning is a long-term process related to development, while training is a timely, technical, skill-based process that might or might not involve a lower level of skill acquisition. But as time rolls on and the value stakes surrounding learning, development, and training in the enterprise continue to escalate, training might get pushed into the learning and development arena, whether it likes it or not. So training, I would say, is specific for a task, is sometimes not always a more functional, low-level task. Let's say you had some sort of machinery to operate. There was a specific process of learning as to how to operate that machine, and it was directly related to the functionality of your job. So that would be a training process to equip yourself with the understanding if the task to be performed, how it was to performed, what are the technicalities into it. So that would be a training, that would be a the process training. Now if we talk about learning, on the other hand, has been viewed as something that's much more broad-based. So as the figure shows that learning is at the higher up, so it isn't necessarily related to a job. For example, we have a management series program where we teach people emotional intelligence. So the series focuses on the various software skills necessary to be emotionally intelligent at your job. None of it is specific task-based training processes. That would be how to fill out a performance review form, whereas learning would be how to give feedback to someone in an emotionally intelligent way when you need to give corrective feedback. Nevertheless, it is useful to be able to distinguish between the two, or if you include development, between the three. Here we are with my definitions. So it is not necessary that you comply with what I say. Training is any planned activity designed to help an individual or a group to learn to do things differently, or to do different things within the context of their current or future jobs. Now, development is any untaught activity, observation, or study where the primary purpose is learning and increasing someone's potential. So continuous development, or Kaizen, suggests ongoing learning, growth, and change. Learning is the process of acquiring or developing. So knowledge and understanding, skills and changes in behavior, emotional competence, or so to say confidence and attitudinal change is what learning brings in. So there are lots of people with different views because we all have our own personal meanings and pet theories for words, right? Hence the market of this, we are the market of dictionaries. This is akin to the debate about the difference between aims, objectives, goals, and targets. You are likely to get people giving you their strongly held personal theories. But in fact, there is no single right answer to all of the said above. If I talk about traditional methods, so traditionally we used to, all the traditional thing actually leads me to a classroom theory. So if I were to say, I start off with an induction process wherein you are kept abreast of what the company policies are, what the procedures are, that are prevalent in organization, what the culture are. All this is being given to you, pushed into you. Wherein I remember my first induction process wasn't, I didn't even get a single bit out of it. So that becomes a boring thing. I would also switch on to why traditional methods have been gone, and the picture there is a little interesting. So just keep your eyes off, don't keep your eyes off the screen now. Okay, so product and technical training if I talk about. So most of the organizations have now certain set of products or certain set of skills that are required. Let it be an automobile company wherein there is a certain technique applied to how do you make cars, or say a software company where there is a product you need to understand. Let it be MakeMyTrip.com, let it be EmployeeWise itself, wherein we have a HR software. So there is a set of skills that are required to acquire that particular, what will happen when. So there is a particular product training that you require. So here you need to develop yourself technologically. Here you need to understand the product and its know-how. You need to have the better understanding of all the new technologies, new equipments, new products that are being launched. So you have to keep yourself abreast. Now, I actually remember an instance wherein I had worked in a call center when I was in college, and we had a new equipment there that we were being taught on. I barely remember anything because first the trainer who was training us was very soft. Plus the room was very cozy and comfortable chairs, so I was actually sleeping there. When the time came to understand that particular new equipment, I had to actually Google it and understand it. So, Gen X, Y and Z at least are very much, what you say, bounded to what you say, internet. So they want to do it when they want to. They want to see, they want to learn when they want to. And I guess traditional methods do not keep these things in mind. There is a proper allocation of a room, and then you have to sit there for 3 hours no matter how crispy lunch you had. So things like this are not even kept in mind before they are scheduled. If I say about, again, the training might go into soft skills, say team building, leadership, negotiation skills, customer relationship, account management, all these things might have been covered traditionally. How do I actually go on to saying that why traditional methods are no longer working? Or why even we have to go and shift to a trend that is newer? Why are we shifting towards newer trends? Why? Yeah. So if I talk about that, so in a flattering economy where managers and leaders are challenged by stretched budgets and shrinking teams, traditional leadership training is no longer working. The talk and chalk model that we used is failing. senior business leaders under pressure to deliver results in a market that requires innovation and creativity to remain or increase competitiveness. Now, why these traditional methods are not working is, as I said in my last slide itself, that the term training course is often greeted with a resounding sigh when uttered in the boardroom. So too often leaders and managers have experienced poor training offerings, prescribed dull and PowerPoint based sessions, which have left them bored and uninspired. So too often training is just seen as an unnecessary waste of a working day, or a tick box exercise which leaders reluctantly submit in order to do their bit and appease the CEO or the HR director. Then comes your theory test, wherein it is impossible to influence behavioral change theoretically. You understand? There is no better way to ensure learned behaviors are understood and used than experiential learning. So as humans, we learn much more effectively through experiential methods, and are energized by getting up and moving around, interacting with each other. Now, we are social, mobile beings, and not designed to be quietly stuck at desks taking notes. So just think back to school and the boredom of endless dictation. Now, not only this, but the traditional classroom environment is conducive only to sleep, with dimmed lights, carbohydrate-heavy lunches, and comfortable chairs. So me, myself, and I. Now that's the next thing that I have to. So bespoke tailoring. Another problem with a lot of traditional training offerings is that they are not designed around the individual. They take the same approach with all delegates, and often there is not contact with those delegates prior to the course to identify needs, objectives, and personality. So this is a huge mistake that we actually have committed, and creates a feeling of the delegate being taught at. No wonder so many participants reluctantly feeling that the course has little or no relevance to their own needs. So when pre-care is provided, say such as a questionnaire or contact call, the delegate instantly feels that they are being cared for and has ownership of the process. So much like bespoke tailoring, bespoke tailoring will feel so much more comfortable than while the peg and takes little or no consideration of the, say, learner's needs. And otherwise engaged, if you talk about, so engaging an audience is a vital consideration for any trainer, no matter the leader or so it is an effective change that needs to be thought, and it is very important that you understand the requirement of the target audience as well. So people don't respond well after being told that what to do and how they should behave. After all, who gives one person the rights to decide what's right and what's wrong? So if it is, if it is an engagement from both the ends, well, who am I saying to? I'm conducting a webinar, that is one way. Now, if we talk about post-events, say, too often the contact with training participants end when the event finishes and the material is filed away in the drawer and forgotten about. Now, another good follow-ups and aftercare for training. There is little point in doing it at the first place. So a great way of ensuring that learned methods are being used and personal training objectives achieved is to have both pre and post event contact. So perhaps creating a permanent and interactive record of the objectives and to follow up on how these have been achieved or how new techniques are being used in the workplace. So it is very important in an age when training budgets are being streamlined and spent very selectively. It is vital that training is being retained and implemented for better performance of the business, its people. It is my view that this can only be achieved by taking an approach which really engages and inspires for better business now and in future. Now if we talk about the emerging trends, so there is a new channel that has been developed. Say it is coming from all the way from technology. So let that technology not be bounded to computers, but also to media and say telephones. Telephones not only bounded to mobiles and cells, but to iPads as well. So they are being converged to in a way that they emerge as a learning device. So learning at workplaces is seeing a new level of excite in the present day scenario with the plausible use of immersive video games with scripts such as those of God of War, etc. that will see a place for itself in modern day organizations. So increasing role of technology is changing the canvas of learning methodologies, and it is sure to continue in the future. If I talk about M-learning, say mobile learning, wherein we are learning via mobile devices, be it smartphones or tablets. So are the emergent mainstay for functional training. Publications like Smarter Comics are changing the entire delivery mechanism of learning with their comic book adaptations of best-selling business books, right? And if we talk about wikis, blogs, online bulletin boards, help chief learning officers embrace Web 2.0 version as part of their learning strategy. That is increasingly welcomed by the learners today. So M-learning, or it is the mainstay for functional learning. So the opportunities in learning are limitless today, and the times are truly exciting for both the learner as well as the L&D professionals today. Today we have also seen a change in the learning. Say, let it be e-learning. There are many ways that one can actually have it replaced by actual classroom training. Say there should be a group reflection and individual reflection, service learning, outdoor management development, low ropes course or team building, fellowships, sabbaticals. Sabbaticals is actually associated with you being on leave, but we actually think that that's the major learning phase wherein you are all alone to learn. So develop mental relationships, networking with senior executives, say degree programs, self-paced learning, classroom-based training, e-learning, executive coaching, and so on and so forth. Say see 360-degree feedback, just-in-time training, developmental assignments, say simulations, games, and personal development plans, action learning. So all these, in addition to this, say job enrichment, job enlargement, and job rotation are also a part of it. Along with this, social media today is playing a lot of, it is with new talent challenges and changing business dynamics, organizations have continued to revamp its learning and development platforms. So they are now including social media, mobile SMS training, even gaming for greater effectiveness. We also have SMS training. So, probably the first time in India, SMS is being used extensively as a learning and development tool. So success of any training module or tool depends on its effectiveness. So SMS for training ensures that, say, training is effective, continuous, and it does not overload the front end staff with a lot of information at one time. I also feel that it should be then bifurcated in terms of understanding that, say, a new or a fresher will always have an apt to learn or would love to learn a lot than a person who is, say, in management or top management, wherein there are many blogs say, I know everything, and things like that are being also used. Right? So that's what I had to take in this webinar, right? So over to question and answers. Ambika is with me while I was introduced by Anshul, but the person who is actually bearing me is you guys and Ambika. So Ambika, do you have any questions, or do you want to cite any questions that the audience has asked?
Thank you so much, Prachika, for giving that insightful webinar on whether training is the only way for learning in organizations. Guys, if you have any queries, please type in your queries in the question box, which is at the left side of the screen, and we'll be happy to answer your questions.
What is contacted? Did you?
Prachika, there's a question that we've received via mail, and it says that, there are companies that still are using the traditional methods of training. But you've mentioned that the companies are moving towards newer methods. Why do you think that this trend is fading away and people are moving towards newer methods?
So like I said that why they are, I had a slide as well wherein I said that why they are fading away, but of the presentation, if I have to tell personally, is that today Gen Y and Gen Z are actually focusing on, say, technology. Like I said that they want everything at their own pace, and if we are learning from say e-learning or using technology wherein there is a whenever I have a doubt, I can go ponder into it. That is a better learning way because I'll be learning from my own mistakes. I have my own pace. I can go with the speed that I follow. Along with that, I'm not bounded by time. it is also saving a lot of cost that is involved. So that way it is a win-win situation from all sides, because change is actually inevitable and is uh, showing us the positive way out.
Thanks, Prachika. We have a question by Mohan Kumar, wherein he is asking, in case of new methods of learning, however exciting the methods are, don't you feel that the human element is still missing?
Can you please elaborate a little, what exactly do you mean when we say human element? Is it that you're replacing a human with the technology, that is the only reason? So, uh, like I said, even if we are using technology, there has been inputs from human itself, one. Second, there are a lot of, when we are changing, there are pushing factors and pulling factors at the same time. So I would say that I'm towards that pushing factor itself, wherein I'm more towards the trends, the newer trends. There are, but there might be, some apprehension, some negative factors as well that might be included. But if the balance is towards the newer trends, I will go for newer trends. So like I said, that I really don't have. Has he added something? Okay. So I'm done with my question.
Mm, Mohan has another question. He says that we are using a blended learning methodology, that is a combination of e-learning and a classroom session to foster cross-learning. So please comment on that.
Sure, just a second, huh? So blended learning is the best way to go for. I missed it. Somehow I even added that way, while speaking. It is, say, blended learning is the best way to go for, I guess. How it is helpful is that say how you I mean wherein I know that, okay, the target audience has both you know the older employees, both aged employees, say the employee that is new to the organization, an employee who has actually had you know training where mixed force is mixed age workforce is included. So here, there, I would say, that older workers self-perception are there. Say older workers will elect their own barriers to training, that, okay, boss, they'll have that very much, the overconfidence that comes with the experience, that their fears surround their own beliefs, that say about their ability to learn new concepts and tasks. The overconfidence stems from their experience in their job and their identification of a lack of need for training. So our complex, these complex understanding of trainings, say amongst the employees who have received trainings and say older employees, so they will think that, okay, they are much receptives of the two.
So Pratika, Chanchala is asking that if certain situations arise in an organization, wherein there is a clash between the older, as in the older employees and the, younger employees, how do you actually handle such situations in the organizations?
So after all, we all are human beings, and we actually have to, keep tactics in minds wherein we have a blend of understanding that, okay, if there is a mixed stage workforce that is being added into the training session, wherein there might be a resistance and as to that have much more, I'm overconfident, I have a lot of experience than the others who are attending the training. So there should be a way wherein they are felt, boosted. They are even boosted from the trainer that, see, we have this. So if they are heard, if they are also heard, and they are also participating in the training session, so that will not at least make them reluctant or sleep in the training session at least.
Chanchala, I hope that answers your question. Any other questions, please type in the question box. I feel that at this point of time there are not many questions. So what you can do is, if you have any questions related to the topic, you can send in your questions at info@employwise.com, and we'll be happy to answer any queries you have. And I would like to request you, once the webinar is finished, there is a survey. If kindly take out 5 to 10 minutes and fill that survey. That will actually help us to improve on the webinar sessions. I would like to thank you all for joining in, taking our time and joining us for the webinar. Next month we will be, we'll touch base on to another topic, as in we'll talk about another theme, and the topics for the webinar would rotate around the theme, and the theme is actually the essentials of leadership development. So I thank you all once again, and any queries you can send in to info@employvoice.com. Thank you.